everybody, and welcome to Movie Fridays, where if the provider doesn't have the Best Picture winner on time, I have to stick with an alternative that was nominated for Best Animated Feature. So, in today's case, as I've announced on my social media feeds, follow me in the link in the description below, I have said that, basically I've pushed back the review for the Best Picture winner back to a week, and I have promised you guys last week that I may or may not provide you guys the review for Kubo and the Two Strings, if La La Land either did or didn't win Best Picture. Well, it did kind of, but it turned out that was a mistake on the Oscars' behalf because they were given the wrong envelope. Wonder who could have done that. Maybe it must have been the people behind B-Movie. Who knows? But B-movie jokes aside, let's talk about the movie I actually have been watching today that actually has been on my list for a long time since the movie came out, and is made by the same people behind the movies such as Coraline and oh good gravy, not that film, and that is Kubo and the Two Strings. Really, going into this movie, I have seen the trailers in and out for this thing. Just about every movie last month, I have seen the trailers for this movie non-stop. It showed the movie of the adventures of a boy who had his eyes cut off, he had a two-string guitar, and he was off on the adventures to find his father's armor with a white snow-like monkey and a man who is kind of like a Beatle, which is kind of referencing the Beatles-like song playing inside the trailers. Well, they're getting chased after by these two women or whatever, these storms or disasters or whatever, and they're trying to, outwit them and these disasters that they're following after them. Seeing the trailers and comparing the moment that actually happens in this movie it's actually kind of interesting. It's like comparing the actual movie to the trailers itself. It's like a jump from a totally different movie. I mean, definitely these guys, I don't even know how to pronounce their studio name. They definitely have been on top of their A-game, as definitely you've seen. I definitely love Coraline, and I love Paranorman, but I don't like the box trolls. It looks ugly as sin, and definitely the movie, from what I've seen from other people, it's not one of the best. But obviously, with going inside the detail of Kubo and the Two Strings, it is what it is. In the story of this film, in ancient Japan, a young kid named Kubo basically tells his tale to a little village that he lives next to on the side of a mountain. And every day he tells his story to the locals. But the little thing is, he's got to go back to his cave and make sure that he's in there before nighttime. Otherwise, there'll be bad people chasing after him. Why is this? Because his mother fears that there may be some bad people to chase after him. And if doing so, they'll wind up stealing his eye. Or at least I should say his other eye, because there's a reason he wears an eye patch and has his hair draped on the other side of his eye. So, he basically follows what his mother does, who's kind of like a lifeless vegetable, except when there's action needed, or at least when it's needed, when a lesson needs to be taught for the young lad. And, of course, what happens during all of this is Kubo winds up, Kubo winds up, trying to proceed to, their lesson in funeral processions, because it's way different from what we do it here in the U.S., because it takes place during ancient Japan, and it's way different from how we do it here. So he tries to learn their ways of funeral processions, But it doesn't go over very well, and of course nighttime falls, which leads to a certain bad thing happening. That being some two mysterious masked people chasing after him, which are supposedly his aunts, which are apparently his mother's sisters. Try wrapping your head around that when seeing it the first time. So, of course, what winds up happening is, obviously, he winds up getting knocked out, or at least getting saved by his mother from the two evil aunts. But, of course, winds up waking up to the fact that he's the little, chess piece monkey. I don't even know what to say to that. It's just a little chess piece monkey that's come to life. Of course, he winds up waking up to her, and obviously finds out that it's now his mother, as of course they wind up going on their quest to try to run away from those two characters. And of course they have to figure out a way how to get rid of them, or at least find the pieces of the armor, so that they could put an end to all of this. So obviously they wind up gathering up their group, because I think frees the crowd for this, as obviously they gotta get the armor and put an end to all of this. This film, obviously from beginning it starts off a bit slow, but definitely right as the bad thing happens, it starts to kick it into high gear. It definitely becomes an adventure, and definitely it is a film that is definitely worth checking out. This is a film I can't recommend enough to, because last year, remember how I said, like a long time ago, that there were, or at least I didn't mention this, but, or at least seen other reviews where there was a lot of really bad animated movies that came out. You know, those ones. There was literally freaking, oh god lord. There was Norma the North, and I gotta think about these now. Norma the North and freaking what's his face, Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, this unfortunately fell into a really bad place. And the movie just barely made its money back. I mean, if you want to put the budget of the movie on here, and then show the audience just how much money it made back. If I'm too lazy to put it in, Cambot, then the budget was $60 million, and it just barely made enough back, with 74.5, basically around $75 million. But that's not enough to cover the advertisements or the TV spots and trailers and basically the hard drives they had to give to the theaters to play the movie on. So basically, it was a mild success. Or at least, kind of, a sleeper hit. I don't know what you would call it that. But, thankfully, the film released to universal acclaim. And because of that, the film is still beautifully well put together. This is one of the most glamorous movies I have seen in a long time. If anything, between all of these films, I think this one, between Coraline and Paranorman, this takes the spot. This takes #1 for the studio. So, basically, Kubo is #1, Paranorman #2, and then Coraline is #3. And I really look forward to seeing whoever is whatever their next movie is. I just hope that their next movie is definitely a really good one. They definitely know how to tell their stories, and they definitely have a really good, fantastic idea on how to tell a really, really amazing film. As you can tell, I love this movie. This is a really fantastic movie. I can definitely say, without a doubt in my mind, that Kubo and the Two Strings is definitely worth watching and worth buying on Blu-ray. So, Kubo and the Two Strings, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Or what's your favorite stop-motion movie of all time? Whatever your thoughts are, comment below and let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click on the channel name if you want to see more. And as always, I'm the Ferb Guy, and I'll see you guys for the next movie.